rage eating a honey bun because I'm pissed. Guess who I ate? Everyone. Let me tell you about my day. So, so, first of all, the math teacher is crazy. I can't stop eating this. It's really good. So, I get to math. Doing a mathy thing. And we're doing functions. Like, he just started functions, and he's like, functions are really, really hard. We just have to learn to deal with it. Blah, 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 blah. I just realized I've had that poster up in my room since, like, 6th grade. Gotta cut that. Anyway, he's like, functions are gonna be the hardest thing. You just have to learn to deal with them. So he's trying to explain, you know, 1x, 1y, you know, can't have more than 1x output for y output or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he writes his paragraph, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Luckily, everyone's just like, oh, yeah, done this before, got it, no big deal. But this kid was like, why aren't you allowed to have more than 1x or y for an x? And he was just like, these are just some of the rules you're gonna have to memorize. You can't, there's no way to just explain it. It's just how it is. You're just gonna have to memorize it. Something you're gonna have to do. And like 2 minutes later, the kid was like, oh wait, it's a vertical line test. And he was like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not going over that. These are just the rules you're gonna have to memorize. It'll just make life so much easier. Not even kidding you. 10 minutes later, he goes like, okay guys, now we're gonna do the vertical line test. What? After the whole, no, you just have to memorize those rules and pop points for the rest of your fucking life. He's such a douche. He's a fucking goddamn asshole. I hate him so much. He just makes no sense. And when he goes to draw lines on the board, he lifts his leg up like a dog peeing. And it's really awkward. Because I always just imagine him just taking a piss or like rearranging his balls or something. Like, he's just like he puts like, he goes, ugh. And he grunts. And he's really tall, so he doesn't need to like lift because he's really tall. Anyway, and then in my Latin class, 4 people again. 4 people. 4. 1, 2, 3. 4 people! We had a different 3rd, 4th person this time. And he decided to have us all work in our individual groups depending on what chapter we were on. And he just assumed I was behind. So he just said, alright, you know, work with these 3 in chapter, or these 2 in chapter 4, you know, then you're in chapter, or they're in chapter 5, you're in chapter 4, this other girl's working in another book entirely. And I was finished with chapter 5. I did the practice and review in like half of the other sentences we had to do. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So I'm sitting there, like, translating the rest of the sentences I have, and they're just starting chapter 5. And he eventually comes over, he's just like, so, how you doing? And I'm like, you know, good. And he's like, you start translating sentences? And I'm like, yeah. And I point to all the sentences I have translated. And he goes, so do you want to try number 1? And I was just like, yeah, duty calls all good men. Or all free men, or some shit. Anyway. He was like, that's really good. Now you can start on number 2. And I'm like, fuck you. And he decided that for some reason, we don't need to do tests anymore because the class is so small. That he just knows who's worth an A, B, who's worth a C. You know, who gets those kind of grades just based on what you do in class. You know what I do in class? I sit there and try not to kill myself because the old Hadley later is like, oh, everyone's so stupid, and he's just like, oh, I hate my job, I'm gonna get fired. Yeah, you're gonna get fired because you're a dumbass. I'm qualified to teach chemistry, English, Latin, and I'm working on physics right now. I don't fucking care. You're horrible. You're a horrible teacher. Only 4 people show up to your class. And then we have to do this presentation on something Roman, you know. And I didn't know which one I was going to pick because he finally asked us today because he keeps putting off asking us what we want to do. So he finally asked us, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, oh, well, you haven't thought about it. I'll give you a really easy one. You can do the Roman aqueducts. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to. 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 No, I don't want to I'll tell you then. I'll do some research and I'll let you know. He's like, okay, but it's really fun. It's really easy. And I'm like, why do you think I'm retarded? By the way, I'm in class. Guess what I'm reading? I was the first one in the class. Guess what I'm reading? I'm reading Richard Dawkins. I'm reading The Greatest Show on Earth. What, 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 what did you think? What? I sit there and I'm just extra pretentious on accident. I'm sorry. So what? What? I don't know. I don't know, Melissa. I don't know anymore. I kind of look like, a baby with an elongated head, but my jaw is elongated. You know, I don't think I'm gonna edit this, by the way, so you're just gonna get all 6 minutes of me just like trying not to kill myself. The only class I can stand, actually, I'm starting to like my lumpy, fruit-loving chemistry teacher, just because he's an annoyed asshole. Like he's like, I told you this 4 times. I don't understand why you fucked it up so hard. And I was like, yeah. I'm starting to like him because he's like me. He's just irritating. He's a smartass. But he likes fruit and old school metal, so... Well, I like fruit. I do like Dio. I don't think this is gonna work between us. I actually still hate his class. But I have anthropology. Wheeler's adorable. He looks like Ian McGregor. So, it's cool, I guess. So, yeah, how was your day?